Now, just like people have to refuel their cars, you must refuel yourself, except with water, not gasoline. Do not drink gasoline. Right now, if I said the word water, what would be the first image that pops into your head? I'm going to list a few things. Tell me in the comments if anyone thought of the same things as I did. Drinking water from a cup, the ocean, rain, showers, Sharknado, baths, pools, Aquafina, water bottles, boxed water, fishing, Jaws, H2O, that scene in Mad Max, cats, Sharknado again, water parks, watering plants, doing dishes. I could go on. The truth is, that was a really hard question to guess the answer to, because water is so universally important to our everyday lives, both on an individual level and on a societal level. Each of your trillions of cells in your body needs water to function. Fortunately, you are never very far from one form or another of water. In fact, 65% of your body's mass is water. Water is a part of all organisms. An apple is actually 84% water. And if you are a watermelon, about 98% of your body mass would be water. However, the amount of water in your body is not constant. As living things, almost everything we do is using or releasing water. Things like sweating, peeing, pooing, crying, and spitting. Heck, even the breath you exhale releases water vapor into the air. Every cellular process uses up a tiny fraction of your body's water. Now, just like people have to refuel their cars, you must refuel yourself, except with water, not gasoline. Do not drink gasoline. To remain healthy, you need to consume about 2.5 liters of water each day. The exact amount varies depending on the person. To be clear, this doesn't mean you should literally drink 10 glasses of water straight and call it a job well done. No, this figure is referring to the total water consumption throughout the day, including the water stored in food and other drinks like milk and juice. So if initially you thought there was no way you could consume that much water, think again. This time, consider other things you consume that contain water. Water is vital for survival. However, you depend on water for more than just basic physical health. Water is vital to the entirety of life on this planet. To stress this point even further, I'd like to ask you two questions. What is the only planet to support life? And what is the only known planet that has liquid water on its surface? Planet Earth. Coincidence? I think not. Earth is unique amongst other planets because 74% of its surface is covered in water. To put that into perspective, that is enough water to fill approximately 6 hexillion cups. To visualize that number, that is a 6 followed by 21 zeros. To blow your mind even further, a single cup of water, I repeat, 1 cup of water, contains 9 septillion atoms. That's a 9 followed by 24 zeros. Now, if you were to do the math, 6 hexillion cups multiplied by 9 septillion, you find out that the number of atoms that make up the entire amount of water on Earth is equal to 5.4 quindecillion atoms. It would take you literally 32 million years just to count to that number. After that little ramble, you're probably thinking to yourself, with all this water, there's no way we can ever run out, right? Well, I have a clip that might make you rethink that statement. Here, watch it while I go grab a coffee. Ah, that's better. Kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Look at this guy. The vast majority of water on Earth, about 97%, is salt water. You cannot drink salt water. You would have a very bad time. Neither can other land-living organisms. You need fresh water to meet those needs. Barely 3% of all water on Earth is fresh water. Most of this water is frozen in large masses of ice. These frozen expanses of water form ice sheets at the North and South poles and glaciers in high mountaintops. Compressed sheets of snow and ice cover about 10% of the Earth's land and lock up about 3/4 of the planet's fresh water supply in the solid state. Now, before you go panic and start rationing your tap water, it is important to note that there are plenty of things humans use water for, and only about 5% of that water is used for domestic things. Domestic meaning like household and whatnot. The majority of water used can be divided into two broad categories: direct use and indirect use. Direct use refers to what I just mentioned. It is your household, personal/domestic usage of water. Things like showers, baths, drinking water, pet water, coffee, gardening, cleaning, etc. And this makes up, like I said, about 5% of society's water consumption. Indirect uses include using water for agriculture purposes, such as growing food, and that's about 73% of the water consumption. But water can also be used for industrial purposes, and that's about 22% of the water consumed. This includes using water as part of the process for refining oil and coal. Fun fact about Mr. Drover, one summer during university, I worked in a coal mine. And without exaggeration, the amount of water we used on a daily basis literally was tens of thousands of liters. Now, one specific job I had was to mix the stuff called magnetite into the coal. Magnetite is essentially like coal, and it looks exactly like coal, except it is heavier. We used it to change the density of the coal solution, which was essential for the refining process, or we called it cleaning the coal. I had to spray the magnetite through this small screen with essentially a fire hose at full blast for hours on end. Think of the food strainer you have in your kitchen, just 100 times bigger. That's what I was spraying. The water pushed all the magnetite into the same container as the coal, while the screen prevented any large rocks or other contaminants from entering it. Now, what other contaminants could you have? No word of a lie. One night, while I was spraying magnetite, I found a clean to the bone, nice and smooth, deer jaw. Alright, like a deer, its jaw. Clean, white bone. It looked exactly like this. Industrial and agriculture uses of water are extremely beneficial and are necessary for our everyday lives. However, it is important to note that both contribute greatly to pollution and the depletion of groundwater. So, the ideas you probably got from this video thus far are probably along the lines of this. Fresh water is important. Water is in a lot of things. The earth contains a ton of water, but ironically, we can't use that water, or at least most of it. Math is really hard, and Mr. Drover is a weirdo. This brings us to our final topic, the water cycle. The water cycle is a closed loop that water travels in within our biosphere, meaning the planet. Let's break it down. We'll start with transpiration and evaporation. Like animals, plants hold a lot of water within them. These plants go through a process called transpiration, releasing water vapor into the air. While transpiration is occurring, pools of water accumulated from runoff, both on the surface level and underground, evaporate upwards into the sky, also as water vapor. This water vapor floats up, way up in the sky until it condenses to form clouds. The clouds can then move around and end up in an entirely different new geographical location than where it formed. This condensation continues until the density of the water molecules in the cloud become way too heavy. Once a cloud becomes dense enough, precipitation occurs. Precipitation refers to the atmospheric water vapor falling due to the force of gravity. This could be in a variety of forms such as rain, hail, or snow. Once the water hits the surface, plants absorb it. Runoff happens and the process of evaporation and transpiration start all over again. So that's it. That's the water cycle for you. So that is all for this week's lesson. I hope you learned something new and interesting today. If you did find something particularly fascinating, try and teach it to someone else, whether it's your friend, parent, brother, sister, or even your cat. Explaining something with confidence, even if it's fake confidence, helps you retain information. Basically, the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does a lot to help and assures you that you are notified every time I upload a new video. If you think someone you know would appreciate this video, feel free to share it. And if you want to continue your scientific journey, check out my other videos linked right here. Have a great day, everyone.